Wait, hold on. Hello. Hey. Hello. Wait, what is... Okay, so in this video, I will be presenting a fan update to the Eldritch influences mechanic in the Atlas, and mainly the Eldritch alters. Quick contextualization in PoE. Once you're far enough in the Atlas progression, you can apply an Eldritch influence to your map. There are two Eldritch influences, the Eater of Worlds and the Searing Exarch. When a map is imbued with either influence, affiliated pack of monsters will spawn and may reveal an Eldritch altar when they are defeated. These altars present two options from different categories, and there are three categories of options. Options affecting the player, options affecting the Eldritch minions, and options affecting the map boss. Each of these options has at least one upside and one downside. You can enhance and modify the effects of these influences and altars by interacting with the Atlas, and today I will present you a fan update to this mechanic. Starting with some quality of life changes. So for the first quality of life change, players are now given the option to scrap an altar. Scrapping an altar makes it disappear without triggering the spawn of additional Eldritch minions. Options downsides of the scrapped altar get pushed to the bottom of their respective pool for the remainder of this map. The point behind it is twofold. First, avoiding modifiers you really don't like, and second, visually clearing the map and minimap. For the second quality of life change, your map device now automatically prepicks the Eldritch influence you're the most devoted to when preparing to launch a map. Devotion is calculated by the number of nodes relative to one Eldritch influence picked over the other in the currently selected Atlas. With that in mind, let's proceed to the Atlas changes. Firstly, slight changes here and there with two additional small nodes on each side. This is to allow further investments into the influences without creating a new wheel somewhere. Then, giving back a keystone to crown this wheel, here is Fuel the Cleansing Fire. If you are fully devoted to the Searing Exarch only, spawn a Fateful Altar at the beginning of your map with options that improve future Eldritch altars in the area. Eldritch minions and altars that are not influenced by the Searing Exarch are converted to be imbued with the influence of the Searing Exarch instead. Okay, so why am I mentioning altar conversion? Well, we get to that point later. Fully devoted to the Searing Exarch only means that you need to have all nodes related to the Searing Exarch allocated on your Atlas. You can have nodes allocated to the Eater of Worlds as well, but you must not allocate all of them, otherwise you would also be fully devoted to it, and the effect of this keystone will not trigger. The Fateful Altar is a seemingly classic altar, however it only appears once per map and it presents four options. The first option is Eldritch altars are more likely to propose options affecting the player. Eldritch altars have a slight chance to be molten. Modifiers to item quantity and rarity apply to the altars at 10% of their value. So quantity improves the likeliness for altars to spawn, whilst rarity improves the chance to find molten altars. It is not only affected by the quantity and rarity of the area, but also of the player as well. Molten Altar is an altar that allows you to choose both the presented options. The second one is Eldritch altars are more likely to propose options affecting the Eldritch minions. Eldritch minions packs have a slight chance to contain an extra monster carrying a random fiery banner. Okay, so the fiery banner is a banner that exists for a total of 12 seconds, counted from the moment it appears. The fiery banner is dropped when its carrier dies and gets immediately picked up by the nearest player or enemy. The fiery banner grants an effect to its holder and his allies based on its type and gets weaker the more holders it has had. There are four different types of fiery banners. So the Mighty Fiery Banner grants 20% increased character size, melee damage, and area of effects. The Cruel Fiery Banner grants you and enemies up to 8 meters away are scorched, covered in ash, and slowly getting withered, meaning getting affected by stacks of wither every few seconds. Arrogant Fiery Banner, 30% increased attack and cast speed, skills cost nothing, and enemies copy the effects of your active auras. Skills cost nothing means all skills, so also Vaal skills. Fanatic Fiery Banner, 50% increased movement speed. Monsters getting nearby you for the first time have a 25% chance to be imbued with the influence of the Searing Exarch. You gradually lose defenses the further you go whilst carrying this banner. The third option of the Fateful Altar is Eldritch altars are more likely to propose modifiers affecting the map boss. Picking an option affecting the map boss has a chance to additionally spawn a Searing Champion unique monster, affected by your Eldritch map boss modifiers and rewards at the time. And finally, the fourth option is Eldritch altars options remain random, and each option has 25% chance to present an additional upside and 50% chance to present an additional downside. This gives more weight to these upper nodes, and it allows you to fully commit to one Eldritch entity and be rewarded with more agency and new possibilities. On the other side of the tree, Feed the Tangle keystone is its exclusive counterpart. If you are fully devoted to the Eater of Worlds only, spawn a Fateful Altar at the beginning of your map, with options that improves future Eldritch altars in the area. Eldritch minions and altars that are not influenced by the Eater of Worlds are converted to be imbued with the influence of the Eater of Worlds instead. So just like the previous one, this Fateful Altar appears only once at the beginning of your map and has 4 similar yet different options. The first one is Eldritch altars are more likely to propose options affecting the player. Eldritch minions have an increased chance to drop an item with an Eater of Worlds implicit modifier, and modifiers to item quantity and rarity apply to the Eater of Worlds implicit modifier at 10% of their value. So quantity improves the chance to drop an item with an Eater of Worlds implicit modifier, and rarity improves the chance for Eater of Worlds implicit modifiers to be of higher tiers, and this is not capped. The second option is Eldritch altars are more likely to propose options affecting the Eldritch minions. Picking an option has a chance to mark you with a Scarring Sigil that will befall upon you after 3 seconds to create a large zone on the ground that lasts for 6 seconds and affects both players and monsters inside of it. The Scarring Sigil is shown above your head. When the sigil befalls upon you, it creates a large zone that dissipates after 5 seconds, and there are 4 different kinds of Scarring Sigils. The blue one creates a zone that continuously chills, brittles, and covers in frost. Enemies in the zone gets more difficult and rewarding the more ailments they are affected by while you are also in the zone. The grey one creates a zone that continuously shocks, saps, and halves energy shield regeneration rates. Enemies in the zone fracture on death while you are in the zone. The green one creates a zone that continuously inflicts grasping vines and slowly depletes evasion rating. Enemies in the zone turn into Eldritch minions if you are in the zone. And the maroon one creates a zone where enemies are in an union of souls. Enemies in the zone are evolving while you are in the zone. The third option is Eldritch altars are more likely to propose modifiers affecting the map boss, and picking an option affecting the map boss has a chance to add an Eldritch eyeball by its side. The Eldritch eyeballs empower the map boss and drop each up to 4 items copied from the map boss drop pool. So something to note is that the copied items can be any the map boss had in its pool, which means it interacts with Divination Scarab of Pilfering, and also with Crystal Resonance, for example. And finally, the fourth option of the Fateful Altar is Eldritch altars options remain random. The numerical values of options upsides and downsides get slightly higher the more options you've picked. In contrast to fully committing to one side or the other, I figured it would be interesting to bring a way to make these 2 Eldritch entities cross each other, and I wanted to introduce a way to feel the Eldritch influence being disputed during the course of the map. Thus introducing Shocking Altercation. Shocking Altercation is a keystone half. It is considered an Eater of Worlds node, despite being situated near the Searing Exarch nodes. This means that you would need to allocate it to be fully devoted to the Eater of Worlds, for example. Shocking Altercation reads like so. Picking an option from Searing Exarch altars found in your map has a 30% chance to also spawn monster packs influenced by the Eater of Worlds. Starts the Relentless Clash if Fiery Duel is also allocated. So first, monster packs influenced by the Eater of Worlds are implied to be able to spawn Eater of Worlds altars. and the Fiery Duel is the other keystone half, which has a complementary effect. Whenever the two are allocated, in addition to their inherent property, you also have access to the Relentless clash. Your maps have both Eldritch influences. Choosing an Eldritch altar option favors the corresponding Eldritch influence. Scrapping an Eldritch altar favors the opposite Eldritch influence. Eldritch altars have a chance to be fused up while the Eldritch influences are clashing. Okay, so favors, clashing, what does that even mean? Well, essentially, when you open the map while the Relentless clash is active in your atlas, you will find an empty favor bar in the UI with both influence symbols. From this point, any Eldritch altar can spawn, and interacting with them fills it one way or another. When the two feelings meet, the influences are considered clashing, and while it is the case, further Eldritch altars have a chance to be fused up. This chance is equal to the lower ratio between the two. So let's say your field favor bar is 30% Searing Exarch and 70% Eater of Worlds, then you will have 30% chance for the next altar to be fused up. An altar being fused up means that it is only one altar, yet considered belonging to both the Searing Exarch and the Eater of Worlds, meaning it combines the upsides and downsides for each option. It spawns monsters from both influences, both while spawning and after choosing an option. The content of the upsides and downsides can come from both pools. Okay, so that's it with the content of this fan update. I wanted to give a quick recap and conclusion. The quality of life changes are just that and are far from mandatory. Whenever I make changes into my atlas or pick another atlas, I personally always waste at least one map because I forget to update the influence I want on the map device, but you might not have this problem. Scrapping just allows for more clarity by separating altars you did purposefully left off to pick afterward and the ones you weren't interested in at all. Fuel the cleansing fire and feed the Tangle. It's a way to enhance the altars by paying the cost in terms of atlas nodes. The main thing I wanted to achieve with it was player agency, making it so that you were more likely to find the type of options you want to find. This was motivated by the fact that I like altars, both in and on themselves, and also as other mechanics amp. And I think it's a shame that if you want to focus on player options, for example, then you would force yourself to run a map where the map boss behaves in such a way that it blocks the map boss altars options like Mausoleum, for example. You should be able to emphasize the option category you prefer without having to lock yourself in one particular map, and I believe GGG thinks the same if I look at the implementation of the divination card scrying. It is important for this keystone to not be too strong an option, so that you don't feel forced to go after it when allocating Eldritch influences nodes in your atlas. As it is, it allows for more consistency and nuances to the altar strategies, while also providing new experiences. Shocking Altercation and Fiery Duel alone allow for a bit of diversity, highlighting a yin-yang thematic. The two together allow for altars chain reactions and open the Relentless clash, which allows new atlas strategies mainly focusing on altars. And let's be honest, just the perspective to create absolute mayhem on your map. I thought about adding scarabs also, but I decided against it because there is something I disliked about the current scarab implementation. It might be an unpopular opinion, but I think the mechanics that have scarabs for them, which is the vast majority of them right now, depend way more on them, so much so that it almost feels like a waste to run a mechanic with only your atlas as an investment. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the idea of scarabs, but I prefer when they offer a spin on the mechanic rather than straight up making it better. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like so that I can annoy my manager at work about it even more. Don't hesitate to comment your ideas also, so that the next time I plan to doom scroll on Instagram, I will read your feedback instead. See ya, Exiles.